Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A few thoughts to share with everybody on the situation that we live in right now with the battle with coronavirus, COVID-19 around the world. Subhanallah, this is going to be a religious video, some religious thoughts, very personal religious thoughts. Number one, we are, as the world in large, we are very vulnerable, much more than we even thought we are, with a virus that we cannot even see, and we are battling to even be able to test and find ways to test rather than combat and find a solution or a vaccine for. We see the world is haphazardly going left and right, and we see the total population of the world are being kind of either jammed or the course of life in general is being interrupted in a way or another. As we know and as we see, we are very vulnerable. Number two, we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to reach out to God. I appreciate what Mr. Trump has announced today or yesterday, announcing this Sunday, which is today is Sunday, as the National Prayer Day, or as a prayer day. So we do need Allah, especially at tough times. And maybe this is one of the reasons, according to the Quran, that Allah sent us reminders, I would say reminders or tests like this. فَلَوْلَا إِذْ جَاءَهُمْ بَأْسُنَا تَضَرَّعُوا. If only when our ba's, our power, is being shown to them, they come back to us in a state of tadarru'. Tadarru' is not just praying, but rather very humbly from the bottom of their heart, praying or asking or reaching out or calling out, obviously to God or on God. So this is the time that we really need to come back to God and show our weakness and realize first of all that we are very weak. I was trying to touch my eyes right now and I thought I have a second thought. So as little as even touching your eye or touching your nose, every movement is now risky. So this is how vulnerable we are, and this is how we really or when we really need to reach out to the superpower Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah talked about this, about the situation of people being stranded in the middle of the sea, and even if they don't believe in God, this is the time that everybody realizes that you need God. You need that super higher power above you to reach out to. Number three, realizing the ni'mah, the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on us. I'm coming from the masjid now, meeting after meeting, trying to see what we are going to do and how can we deal with the current situation. But did we now realize the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on us, by just being able to go about our daily life and our daily activities of life, going to work, coming back from work, going to the masjid, praying, jama'ah, congregation, daily prayers, Friday prayer. That was all interrupted. I was trying to use the hand sanitizer after the meeting, and the office manager, Brother Osama, just told me, don't take too much. These are the last 3 bottles. The hand sanitizer. I said, why? He said, well, there's none. Not even a bottle in all the retail stores around us. Gone. Do we realize the ni'mah of Allah, the blessing of Allah on us, by just being able to go to the stores and find what we need, or going to the masjid and do what we need to do, pray to Allah, or spend some time there, or attend a class? Or now many of our, what we used to take for granted, daily activities we take for granted, is now being restricted, and we have to, and this is normal, we have to take some tough measurements because it's a serious condition. But the lesson that we learn is, let's not take anything for granted, and let's really realize and appreciate the ni'mah or the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over us. Now what should we do? We should relate to the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba companions and the next generations. And what did they come across anything like that? Yes, they did come across similar situations of fear and uncertainty and not knowing what to do next. First of all, we need to really not panic, not think it's the end of the world or anything, but rather think rationally and take just a moment to reflect. Take just a moment to pause and reflect and think of your own life, think of your relationship with Allah, think of everything, all the things that you really need to reflect, deeply reflect on our lives and on how the world can be affected by such a smaller virus like this. But yes, the Prophet ﷺ went through moments of weakness, either on a personal level or as a community level. On the personal level in da'wah, when he tried everything that he could with the people of Mecca, almost nothing is working for several years, and what he is getting back is persecution and what have you. And then he had to move to another city, At-Ta'if, trying the strategy of da'wah. I'm the messenger of God. I am the one sent by God, by Allah. Nobody is responding in a very aggressive way. And then he showed his weakness to Allah. I'm helpless, Ya Allah. I complain my situation, the helplessness of myself, the weakness of myself to you. As long as this is not a sign of your anger with me, then I don't care. So that's an individual situation. Another situation when he was on the migration to Mecca, to Medina, from Mecca to Medina, in the cave, in the ghar, what happened? And Abu Bakr was deeply worried about the Prophet ﷺ, and what if something happened to him? That's going to be the end of the da'wah, the end of the deen in general. Then again, connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he said, what do you think about two? The third of them is Allah. Allah is with us. Don't be worried, don't be sad. At times of wars, at times of people attacking the few peaceful believers in Medina who decided to leave everything for the people of Mecca and go to another city that was ready to host them, and they peacefully started their own community, but now they were attacked in some cases by many confederates, allies, all the other nations or tribes around them getting together and attacking them. So much so that in the Ghazwat al-Ahzab, or the Battle of Confederates, for example, one of the companions saying we were not even able to use the bathroom. We didn't feel secure to leave the safety of the group and go individually to just use the restroom. That wasn't available. So they had to go through this, and we were provided with even in these circumstances, we were provided with some instructions as to how to pray, and there's Salatul Khawf, the prayer of khawf or fear, and so this situation was there. Even very similar situation happened during Ta'un Amwas, or the plague that hits Syria back in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, and there was thousands of deaths and people who lost their life. And we had all this doubt and uncertainty even amongst the Sahaba, some of the companions who were going on a trip to that very city. Shall we move forward with our trip or cancel it? Shall we stop here? What should we do? And we are aware of the difference between Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah and Umar ibn al-Khattab. One of them wanted to proceed forward, putting trust in Allah, and the other saying, no, we should follow the causes and not proceed forward. And we know that the Prophet ﷺ gave us clear instructions that about the quarantine, and we should not go to a place that's hit by a plague or any pandemic disease, or move out of it, which is basically some religious guidelines, but in the meantime they are health guidelines as far as quarantine and things like that. So these are some thoughts that let's take time to look at the positive side. Alhamdulillah, life is going on. Like I shared in the video yesterday, people are still getting married, people are still going about their life. Let's take a moment to maybe connect with our families at a deeper level. This is really needed. From my position, from my stand as an imam, from my point, from my angle, I see this is really very much needed. We work too much, nothing bad, nothing wrong with that, but we put a lot of time to things that are not as essential as establishing or enhancing our relationship with our family members, with our kids, with our spouses, with our friends. Maybe this is a time. You don't have to do it on an individual level in terms of gatherings, but let's spend more time at home right now, and let's rebuild our relationship with our children, with our spouses, with our parents. That is probably time to do so. So more thoughts inshallah will be shared with you. And as far as the updates of the masjid, stay tuned inshallah. We will have another meeting tomorrow, and we will send you the updates as far as the prayers and other activities. But as of now, official gatherings in our masjid are being suspended. Need to touch my eye again, but I have to be cautious every time I do that. So inshallah, official gatherings are not happening right now yet. The masjid is open. If anybody want to individually go and pray, that's on you, and we will keep updating you inshallah. Thank you. Jazakumullah khair. Keep me in your dua inshallah, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to lift this situation, relieve us from this, help us learn all of these lessons and more, help us rebuild our relationship with Him and get closer to Him, and repent from any mistakes or sins that we have been doing, and for the whole world to come to the right path and really make the right choices, and realize that this is the time that we really need to work together as nations and also as individuals to be able to overcome such challenges and circumstances. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.